Avengers Infinity War. Dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives. Now, does this movie live up to the hype that has been created since the past 10 years? With Iron Man releasing in 2008, Thanos has been teased. He is here in Avengers Infinity War. Does this movie live up to the hype? Let's find out in this full review of Avengers Infinity War. Now, if this is your first time here, my name is Puneet and you're watching the Afterthoughts Network. Let's get to it. Now, before we begin the review, let me just point out this is going to be a no spoilers zone. I won't spoil the movie for you. Anything I say will not ruin your experience about this movie in the theater. So you can watch this review freely without any threat of getting spoiled for the movie. Now let's first start with the basic storyline of this movie. We have been teased Thanos since Avengers 1 came, and we all wondered at that time who this purple guy is. At that time, we were let know that was Thanos. And we have been teased about Thanos in various other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that he is a dangerous villain. Now, coming to this movie, it follows a basic storyline. There are these Infinity Stones. There's this guy Thanos. He needs to find some Infinity Stones. He needs the Infinity Stones to complete his gauntlet. That makes him basically the most powerful person in the entire universe, because after completing the Infinity Gauntlet, he can wipe out half of the universe in a snap of his fingers. In this movie, we get to see all the characters from previous MCU movies: Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Captain America, Black Panther, and everyone. This movie is crammed full of characters. Now, one of the things that Marvel has been rightly or wrongly so criticized about is the movies do not seem to have any stakes, and Avengers Infinity War is basically the answer by Marvel to every critic and fan out there. This movie will have stakes, and you get to know it in the opening 5 minutes of the movie. That is such a great thing about it. The movie begins by a great action sequence, and it goes on with action sequence, action sequence, action sequence, surprise, surprise, action sequence, surprise, and there are jokes littered all through the movie. I have to say, it works really, really good. I mean, this movie is, I think, among the best Marvel has ever done. We all know that Phase 3 of Marvel movies have been the greatest among all the Marvel movies, all the 19 movies they have done, and this is in the top echelon of the MCU movies. Now, talking about the characters, as I said earlier, this movie is crammed full of characters, but the best one, the standout character of this movie is Thanos. As the directors, the Russo brothers, have said numerous times in various interviews that this is Thanos' story. This is basically like a heist film with Thanos as the protagonist or the antagonist and the protagonist both at the same time. We all know that Marvel has not been great with the villains, but lately they have been hitting it out of the park, and Thanos is probably the best villain Marvel has ever come up with. And Thanos is not a two-dimensional character. He has depth to it. There's a reasoning behind what he's doing in this movie. The reasoning which you or I may not agree to, but if we look at it from his point of view, the reasoning makes sense. And that is the best part of Thanos. He has character depth, he has feelings, he has a logical thinking, he's intelligent, he makes plans, he executes them. And that is the best part of this movie. Thanos completely steals the movie, and he is probably in discussion to be the greatest villain in all the comic book movies. Now, talking about other characters, as I said earlier, this movie is crammed full of people. You have Captain America, Black Widow, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, and teases to many other characters. The thing that the Russo brothers have achieved is that all the characters get a fair share of screen time. It's not like the characters are sidelined. Nothing has been spared in this movie. and no one is pulling any punches. The stakes are high, the characters are good, the character arcs make sense. The chemistry of characters which come together in this movie for the very first time, they work really well. Like for example, Thor meeting the Guardians, or Doctor Strange meeting Spider-Man. I mean, all this has been shown in the trailers, and trailers are just a part of it. But everything works out really, really well. The directors have done a brilliant job of handling all these characters and giving them each great story arcs, great time, great screen time, and balancing all the things which are going on in this movie. Now let me talk about some of the negatives of this movie. There are, because no movie is perfect, we all know that. But there are very little negatives I have to talk about in this movie. First of all is the CGI. Don't get me wrong, it's not like Justice League in which the CGI was pathetic. In this movie, the CGI work is fantastic most of the time. I mean, Thanos looks awesome in almost every scene he is in. But in some of the scenes, some of the action sequences, it's too CGI heavy. Spider-Man, most of the time, he looks very CGI heavy, and which can detract you from the movie, but somehow you are still invested in it because everything that's going on is very interesting to watch. Another negative of this movie is probably the biggest thing. The movie feels very convoluted. Don't get me wrong, you'll never get lost in the movie, but there's so much going on, there's so many story arcs going parallel to one another that most of the time, what I felt in this movie was like when one story arc was going on, then it cuts to the next story arc, and I was of the opinion, come on, wait, let me see that thing first, let it finish out. So that's what it feels like most of the time. You'll probably be wanting a bit of more of that story arc before you jump on to the next one, and the same thing happens to the next story arc. So that is my problem which I felt in this movie. Maybe you won't feel that way, but this is something I felt. And I would still say it is an amazing feat which the directors have achieved, balancing so many characters, so many storylines together in this movie and come out in a coherent storyline, an entertaining piece of work that I just love. Now it is very hard to speak about this movie and not give any spoilers. I won't, trust me, I won't give any spoilers, but you have to see this movie. So in all summation, I would say that go and watch this movie. I think you will love it. As great an action movie as this is, you love it for that, and you love it for the Marvel movie it is, because you know how the Marvel movies are. They are very fun, they are entertaining, they have jokes and references. And one of the things that I liked in this movie is that they keep referencing stuff from previous movies, which if you have watched, you will appreciate it more. If not, you'll just be entertained as a piece of good joke. So my final word is, I do recommend this movie. I cannot recommend this movie enough. Please go and watch this as soon as you get a ticket, because as I said earlier, it's going house full. So have you seen this movie? Did you like it or didn't you like it? Whatever you thought, please write it down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, because we could really use some subscribers. If you want to see more content, hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever a new video drops. Till the next video, which is going to be the spoiler review of Avengers Infinity War, this is Puneet saying you are watching Afterthoughts Network, and bye bye.